Welcome to ADHD is Over, a new podcast on a seemingly old label that we're going to be peeling off. Join my wife, Tatiana and I, as we journey with our family, the Wyden family, through the land of confusing information. We're going to visit both sides and let you decide because the power is with you. Welcome to ADHD is Over. Hey, and welcome back to ADHD is Over. Today, I want to talk about a really big topic. It's been on my mind for over 5 years since our son Khai first got diagnosed. And it's come to me in different varying degrees of intensity. And recently there was just such a moment of clarity that I had to say to myself, I got to record this. And this is a very, in essence, spiritual and metaphysical episode, but at the same time, it's not. It doesn't have to be. But I want to talk about this concept of broken children. And I'm going to limit it just to ADHD for now, because that is our podcast, right? But this obviously applies to autism, to Asperger's, to you name it. Fill in a quote-unquote mental disorder that we are said to have from birth on, that in my mind, in our mind, our family's mind, the myths that we do not buy into, such as it's genetic, it's a neurological disorder, it's a chemical imbalance, and so forth, plays into this, right? Because it all implies that there are a certain amount of children, let's just say babies born into this world, that are quote unquote broken. And I'm going to say this one more time, because it's something that unless we actually look deeper into what we're buying into, we won't see that we are accepting that statement. We are accepting that as a reality. So if you look, let's look at a child being born and 4, 5, 6 years later, it is diagnosed with a disorder of the brain, ADHD. It is very easy to look at your child as broken, as one of those children who did not, get to be born normal, right? That's what it is. I mean, let's be very honest with ourselves, that if we are to buy into this theory that ADHD is a mental disorder, a neurological disorder, it's a chemical imbalance, it's genetic, there's not much you can do, blah, blah, blah. All this, right? And they're fair arguments. They're out there. It's the narrative on the other side. So let's look into that. So if we buy into that, we are in essence saying we agree that unfortunately, in parentheses, my child is broken. And I'm going to try to fix him, or what Russell Barkley likes to call prosthetically help him to function in this world, right? So if that's the case, we have to dig deeper to ask ourselves, and this is where I get to the spiritual, metaphysical part. We have to ask ourselves, what do I actually believe, right? If you're very religious, and I'm not, I grew up Roman Catholic, and I do believe in a higher power. I'm very grateful for life itself. I do believe in the universal life force that creates and keeps creating. And I was religious at times when I was younger, right? Whether I was forced to go to church or not, there were moments when I felt I was religious. And now I'm not. I'm more spiritual. And I'm still learning. I don't know anything. Still learning, still growing. So, but let's say you are religious, and a lot of people are Christian, Catholic, Muslim, whatever your religion is. Then in essence, when we accept a child to have a label such as ADHD, a disorder, a broken brain or broken child per se, even if we never use those words when talking about our child, we never say, my son's broken. If we're buying into the narrative that there's quote unquote nothing we can do that the only thing we can do to save them or to give them a good life is medication, or is to label them as disordered. If we do buy into that and do believe that and live our lives accordingly, then I believe that what we're saying is God, or the Creator, has been creating these broken children, as if the Creator had made mistakes. He had made mistakes, right? He, she, whatever you call it for yourself, that the Creator has made mistakes, that your child happens to be one of those, mistakes, one of those brains that God did not quite get right. And now that child is born into your family, and now you are stuck with a child that has a disorder. And now there is only one thing that will work, and that is to label the child, look at it as not quite normal, and most of the time to medicate. Again, I'm not saying anything bad about that, as in if that floats your boat and you are fulfilled as a family, you medicating your child works for you, and truly there's harmony and balance in life, and there's no side effects, and you're doing well, it is great. Go for it. Keep going. All we're saying, in especially this episode, is to really look at the deeper narrative that we're allowing to seep into the dark corners of our brains. Why is it dark? Well, nobody's shining a light on it. Nobody's saying, hold on one second. We had about 6.1 million children diagnosed with ADHD up until 2019. That is 6.1 million broken children. May want to send a message to the Creator that, sorry, buddy, but you have created 6.1 million children with broken brains, with not quite normal brains, with disordered brains. May want to adjust that because we're struggling down here. No one talks about that. And it doesn't have to be a religious conversation at all. Not at all. This is not a religious conversation. This is just to say, hypothetically, whoever, whatever is creating the inner workings, the intelligence of human being, seems to be messing up. If we're truly believing that the narrative of the pharmaceutical companies and the Psychiatric Association is true, that it is disordered, not normal, and essentially broken and needs to be fixed. If we're buying into that narrative, then that is what we're saying. Whether you're religious or not, somehow subconsciously, that is what we're saying. That we believe that yes, there's mistakes being made by the Creator. And to me, that just is such a presumptuous, that's such a cocky human argument that we are, this puny race in the universe. And we're saying, Creator, you're making some mistakes. And we went into the labs and, we figured out some medication. We came up with some chemical stuff. We played around and we got it. We're going to fix this. This is how we fix this. No worries. I know you make mistakes up there, but, we're humans. We're the human race. We got this. To me, I just have to laugh that that's how we actually operate. That is most of us parents. If we're truly to buy into, again, the pharmaceutical narrative, the psychiatric narrative of disorder, of not normal, of broken, of less than, of struggling, if we take on that label, we just have to stop at some point and ask ourselves, do we actually believe that this intelligence that's created human life, Earth, planets, the universe, makes mistakes? As in, oops, sorry, this brain is not normal. Whatever, letting that one go. Go, be born on Earth. They'll fix you. I mean, we got to be kidding. And maybe it is that. I don't know. I'm just asking. This is an episode to kind of make you think. Makes me think. Makes my wife and I think daily. And I have other parents who we talk, to about this. And these are great conversations to be had. But these are the conversations to be had so that we can see a label for what it is, for a made-up term. A made-up psychiatric term about a bunch of symptoms who a child has that's quote unquote not normal, yet that child is living a unique life, trying to make his or her imprint on this world by being him or herself. And yet we have to stop and say, wait, you're not normal. You have this thing called a disorder. You are broken, and here's how we fix you. The audacity we have to do that to human beings. But let's have that conversation. Put aside whether medication's right or wrong. This is not an anti-pharma podcast. We're definitely not pro-pharma, but this is more of a last resort. Medication is a last resort when absolutely needed. But be aware that it is a Band-Aid, and it does not heal the underlying deeper wounds. It simply is a Band-Aid. If we're aware of that and it's a last resort, hey, great, go for it. It's available. That's the beauty of it. That's all we're saying. So again, this episode was intended to be a conversation starter, and I hope you can have a conversation around this with your spouse, even your child at the appropriate age, caregivers, physicians, doctors, school. We ought to have these really profound conversations around this. Not just the oh, well, that's what they say it is, so let's move forward. Let's get this over with. We got to dig deeper. And yes, I agree. This is probably one of the deepest corners I'm asking you to dig down to. But at the same time, it is a conversation worth having. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And we promise you there will be many, many more. And this was God Makes Mistakes. Or does he? Thank you for listening. Have a powerful day.